The ancient race of Kub'reh-Luh is a controversial topic among world historians. The existence of Kub'reh-Luh is largely derided as more fantasy than fact, and with no scrutable evidence to prove the existence of these people, they must be categorized alongside the other mythological tales from eras long past. However, there are some scholars that point to certain historical writings, some as old as the earliest known Sumerian texts, which speak of an advanced society existing before the Paleolithic period and are believed to be the origins of the legends of Kub'reh-Luh. But due to the fanciful and implausible achievements of this civilization, it is accepted by all credible academics that these historical notes are merely the earliest known examples of recorded fictional storytelling. Yet this level of imaginative creativity would not be seen until Plato's Timaeus and Critias, with scientific presupposition that would not be experienced until the late 19th century. It is alleged by these records that the lords of Kub'reh-Luh possessed a talent for manipulating the genetic traits of all species of flora and fauna, including ancient human ancestors, as well as the citizens of Kub'reh-Luh themselves. These early texts go on to suggest that they had both experimented with interspecies breeding programs. Of note, several reptilian species are cited, and used their talents for what can only be described in contemporary terms as gene splicing and genetic code sequencing, to suppress abnormalities and flaws while introducing other advantageous animal characteristics into their physiologies. If Kub'reh-Luh ever existed, we have found no records of any type concerning the legacy or the fate of this society. There are variations of similar legends told by the descendants of several ancient tribes originating from Oceania and southern Asia, which rely primarily on oral history storytelling. They speak of a once powerful kingdom that appears to be loosely based on Kub'reh-Luh, detailing the hubris to befall them in their quest for knowledge. As they worked to claim dominance over their physical bodies, a terrible sickness was born, decimating the population of the once expansive society. While their numbers dwindled, they retreated to a secretive and revered citadel believed to be located somewhere within the Himalayas. Here they worked to fight against the deadly disease and preserve the legacy of Kub'reh-Luh, but to no avail. If the ancient race of Kub'reh-Luh ever did exist, we can only assume that they died out long ago. And like the people, all evidence of their culture has been erased by the sands of time. There are rumors and conspiracy theories which insinuate that a secret society has collected any archaeological evidence or proof otherwise of Kub'reh-Luh throughout history, employing methods both legal and illicit. This society is known as the cult of Kub'reh-Luh, and their agenda is believed to be one of the preservation of the sacred principles and the preparation for the returning glory of Kub'reh-Luh. They claim that the legacy of Kub'reh-Luh is encoded in the genes of all descendants of the ancient human ancestors that have been a part of their gene editing programs, and that these sequences are currently awakening from their dormant states to prepare the world for the rebirth of Kub'reh-Luh. The cult of Kub'reh-Luh are derided as a less popular take on groups like the Illuminati or other fringe theories like the reptilian agenda, but it does seem to be gaining popularity or notoriety, as evidenced by the recent federal raid on the Cascabel compound in Wyoming, due to its ties to several international terrorist groups and arms dealers. This kind of attention has pushed the once unfamiliar race out from the darkest shadows of unknown history and into the light of modern popular culture, bleeding into our collective social consciousness. The already questionable distillation of unprovable facts interposed with this left-field cultural fixation has made it impossible to convert the general public's misconceptions into understanding what Kub'reh-Luh might have actually been if their existence could be proven. At the most plausible level of speculation, they are the progenitors of all modern humans. At the most fantastic level, they are our creators. Not gods per se, but certainly godlike in their wisdom and abilities. The Promethean gift of inspiration, of creativity, the ability to distill knowledge from our surroundings and harness the laws of our natural world, to attempt to correct our physical limitations and frailties, to learn from one another and to educate future generations. This gift is singular to our own species, and it is not a happy accident, as so many are willing to believe. And it is through these gifts that we have been provided the tools to ultimately excavate the truth. I have devoted the last 20 years of my life to this endeavor. Inside these past 2 decades, we have cracked the human genome, arguably the most important progress in science ever. We are now in the infancy of our own journey towards becoming a society capable of editing out genetic defects or curing terminal illnesses. With enough time and research, we may be able to obstruct the progress of mortality indefinitely. And yet, I believe that these things have already been accomplished. In our world and in our history, a long time ago. And the evidence is in each and every one of us. Therein lies the proof of the existence of Kub'reh-Luh, because within us, at the mitochondrial level of our cells, are foreign agents that are not found in any other living matter on the planet, unique only in us, Homo sapien. But it does not belong to Homo sapien. It was a gift granted to us long ago by a superior race that once walked upon this very planet. A common misconception about archaeology is that the history of our world can only be discovered by digging through the dirt, that the forgotten relics of the past lie beneath our feet. And while the majority of our understanding of the past is largely attributed to the excavation of stone and soil, sometimes the answers we're reaching for are nearer than we believe. My recently published paper, The Breadcrumbs of Human Consciousness, a treatise outlining the rise of mankind and the advantage of our exceptionalism, explains the improbable and impossible likelihood that the development of our minds occurred naturally. Everything about our self-aware state of being is wholly unnatural. But the fact remains that we are as we are. So we must posit the question, how? How did we come to possess our remarkable intellect? As Sherlock Holmes stated, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. If our intellect could not have occurred naturally, then it must have been created artificially by design. But if this is the case, then by whom? Well, as you might have guessed, I have my suspicions. But before I can lay out my theory and my credibility for punitive review by my peers, I must first commit an act of archaeology, the kind that involves literal digging through the dirt. I believe that through my research and investigations, I now understand what happened to Kub'reh-Luh and where their final resting place might be. The details supporting my hypothesis will not be made public at this time. If they are incorrect or otherwise unprovable, then they will only add distraction to the already muddied waters of understanding in this field. However, if they lead me towards my ultimate goal, then they will be the connective markers of a monumental journey that will clarify the misconceptions and speculations of humanity's earliest formative stage. I am Dr. Archibald Menov. Thank you for your kind attention. Excellent.